Judge Steve Kelley, you have officially been on the job for about 40 days since you took office on January the 1st. What is a typical day for you as the county judge executive of Pulaski County, or is there a such thing as a typical day?
Well, Amy, I don't know if it's typical, but I know in the first few weeks of office here, there's just been a lot of meetings. It just seems one meeting to the next, and then in between meetings, there's phone calls and phone calls return. When I'm finally able to get caught up on my meetings in mid-afternoon, we usually slip out to look at projects and situations that are going on in our county. For instance, we got a little bad publicity from a Facebook user recently about our animal shelter, and we've been following up with that to make sure that our animal shelter is as good as can be in this area. We're always improving. I think if anybody would go over and visit that, they would see that we've got one of the top shelters, definitely in this area and for our size population. But there's a lot of things we look at. Here in just a few minutes, I'm going out with a bridge builder to look at putting a new bridge in here in the county. So there's always something, projects that we can go and look at, but a lot of meetings is what I've noticed early on. So I'm trying to figure out a way of keeping those meetings to a minimum so I can get out and do more. But I've got a good staff that's out working for us and gathering information and reporting back on the conditions of the county. I think we're moving forward.
You will be coming on Mid Mornings with Amy once a month to talk about what happened at that month's fiscal court meeting, and also to talk about some issues and projects that are happening in the county. You campaigned on the idea, on the fact that you wanted Pulaski County government to be more transparent, to be more open
Yes.
to the people. What are you doing to take steps towards making that happen?
Well, that's important you brought that up, because I did have a platform, and not only the transparency I had, the platform was JET. It was jobs, education, tourism, and transparency, JETT. So the transparency portion of this platform is very important. I've said all along, if you don't have the trust of your people, you can't really accomplish anything that's going to last. And so I want to make sure that we open up our government for people to see what we're doing, to know what we're thinking and how we're spending your money, how we're taking care of your tax dollars. So I've got several things that we're working on. You all may know Ross Corder. He's my finance officer that I've named. He's also wearing a hat that's in technology, information technology. And he is working on right now of updating our web page. He's got us a Facebook page that we opened up to the public to make comments on if you'd like to. We are working with the radio here to try to bring monthly broadcasts and tell you what's going on in our court meetings and other news. I'm also going to be writing a monthly newspaper column to try to give different media, try to approach our public through different media so that they can be informed. I think the more informed our public is about what we're doing in government, the more trust we'll have, and that's a big goal for me, because I want to make sure the people trust that we're taking care of their tax dollars.
You mentioned social media, and that is how a lot of people follow organizations such as government that they are interested in. You have a website for Pulaski County government, which is pcgovt.com, and how can people search for the government's Facebook page?
The government's Facebook page, I believe, is Pulaski County Government on Facebook. I think that's what it is. I've got it in memory on mine, so I just go right to it, but I think it's Pulaski County Government.
And people can follow the government on Facebook.
Yes, and we're trying to figure out how to do that right now, because we want to take comments and we want to get feedback, but we're not going to sit there and man our Facebook page and respond right away to every comment. So it's more for us putting out things that we're doing and more informational, so that the end user can see what we're doing, and if they have concerns, they can make comments. And certainly we'll try to get back to those in timely fashion, but we don't have somebody daily that's there to respond to questions. And just we ask that you just not bash our county either. It's informational, trying to keep you updated.
Comments.
Yes, and we'll try to monitor those, make sure it doesn't get out of hand. But it's like I said, it's just another piece, another tool that helps us to be more open and more transparent.
One of the first issues that you dealt with when coming into office on January 1st was dealing with the nepotism policy that Pulaski County government has. A local ethics commission ruled that the hiring of certain individuals at the end of the former county judge's administration did violate the nepotism policy. You all had a reading on that, and you actually talked about that in the fiscal court meeting that took place this Tuesday.
Yes, and Amy, I think kind of the reason it got to that point, I think there was some misunderstandings of how the policy read, and misunderstandings of what magistrates' roles were in supervising, and I think there was a consensus that they could hire, but since they weren't direct supervisors, it was okay. And after they hired one particular family member, I think the ethics board flagged that and said, we think this is wrong, and we were just kind of put into a position we had to deal with it. We had the first reading, and it really caused a little bit of an uproar in the county. And we heard the voice of the people, and I think as a group, as a court, we decided, that the county is right on this. And so we had our second reading today, basically just to put it to rest. So if we didn't have the second reading, the issue would still be alive. And so in order to put it to rest, we had to have our second reading, but there was no action taken. And so the existing ordinance will stay in place. And now hopefully we all live happily ever after and move on and get busy here in the county.
So in the February fiscal court meeting, the magistrates and the fiscal court did decide to allow the current nepotism policy to remain as is. And for those who might not know exactly how that policy reads, what is our nepotism policy?
Well, we have definitions of who family members are, and basically it's more immediate family, and it talks about brothers and sisters and parents, so close family. Now here in Pulaski, I don't know if you can go anywhere where somebody's not related somehow or another to anybody else. I think I'm one of the few exceptions to that. But basically this policy says that that a person who is a supervisor or basically in charge cannot also hire this relative. And so it was cleared up for us on what that meant, and that's actually where the misunderstanding was, that the magistrates didn't see themselves as being first line supervisors, so they thought that what they were doing was okay. But I think we have understanding now, and I think we have closure to it. So, like I said, that's just one of the first issues that popped up, and we managed to get through it, and I think we're all ready to work together now.
We have much more to talk about with Pulaski County Judge Executive Steve Kelley, who was with us on Mid-Mornings with Amy, presented by the Mohole of Somerset. We will be right back. Judge Kelley, the fiscal court has discussed and given people in this community the opportunity to talk about Pulaski County becoming a right-to-work county. And the Commonwealth Journal reported a first reading of this ordinance did pass on January the 13th last month. But will this get a second reading? And there are currently only 3 counties in Kentucky who have a right-to-work status: Fulton, Simpson, and Warren. And you've said before that you believe if Pulaski County does attain a right-to-work status, we might be able to bring in more industry. So where are we on this? And do you feel like it's an issue that we need to pursue as a county, becoming a right-to-work county?
Well, Amy, it's definitely an issue that's been around for a while. It's just recently has come to the county level. And just to kind of give you a brief history of that, the Taft-Hartley Act, kind of gave the power to the states when it came to dealing with the unions and labor laws. And what's happened is our state has never passed this right to work, while 24 states so far in the country have passed this. We've been one of the ones that has not, and several times it has passed in the Senate, only to be killed in the House, and that's just politics. There's different reasons why they would and wouldn't. But what we're seeing is from a recruitment perspective, trying to recruit industry in here. And keep in mind, this is only one tool of a bunch of tools in recruiting. But one thing that we notice is happening is companies, when they're looking at where to locate their business, they've got a checklist. And among the items on the checklist, one of those items is this state a right-to-work state or a non-right-to-work state? And if they check that we are a non-right-to-work state, we don't even make it past the first cut. And so the statistic I see is about 30% of those check us off and go somewhere else just because we're not a right-to-work state. So that's a problem, and Kentucky needs to change that, but they're not doing it. And so what we have found this home rule law that was passed in 1973, I believe it was, and the home rule law basically gives counties every right that the state has when it comes to enforcing and making a difference in its own economic development. And so basically the law says that if Kentucky has not ruled against it, or if they've not made a law, we can make a law as long as it doesn't go against Kentucky's law. So since Kentucky has never made a law that they are a non-right-to-work state, the counties, we believe, have the ability and the right to go ahead and make a law in our best interest. And, Jack Conway, our Attorney General, has said, no, you can't do this. But then we've got Chief Justice Lambert and Chief Justice Graves who say you are absolutely within your right to do this. And so Warren County took that first and passed their local right to work ordinance. And like you said, there's been several. I think there's 5 now. I think you have Simpson and Todd and Cumberland and Hardin that have had their second readings. And by the time this show airs, Amy, I think there's going to be about 10 more that do their readings today on Tuesday. So it's a trend that it's going, and basically this is the county saying, if the state won't act, we're going to act. I think Pulaski County needs to act because here's what we're up against. We are close to the Tennessee border, which is a right-to-work state. And so if a owner of a business wants to locate between Kentucky and Tennessee, and all other facts or all other considerations are the same, and we are non-right-to-work and Tennessee is right-to-work, they're not going to consider us. They're going to go south.
So apparently a lot of counties are following suit from Warren County in taking on the Right to Work initiative locally. In a very few short words, how do you define right to work? Right to work,
basically, it's freedom for the employees. What this does, it doesn't do away with unions. It basically takes a closed union shop and makes it an open union shop. And what that means is if you're employed by a company and they contract with a union, they cannot require you to join a union or to pay dues for the collective bargaining. So it basically gives freedom. If a person goes into work and they have a good union that represents them well, certainly they can join and pay dues. And I have friends that say I would absolutely pay dues to my union because I couldn't work without them. And then I know some companies that say our union collects our dues and all we got in the last 5 years was a calendar. And they probably wouldn't pay dues, So if the union is good and doing its job, people would benefit from joining a union, but they're not required to under this right to work.
You also talked many times in your campaign about you wanting Pulaski County and the city of Somerset to work together on projects. Have you had a chance to sit down with Somerset Mayor Eddie Girdler and talk about how the two entities can work together? And if so, what have you talked about?
We have, and Mayor Girdler and I, we have a history. I was on the city council for 4 years and worked with him, and as a government agent, we didn't always agree on things. Sometimes we agreed, sometimes we didn't, but we always had communication, and we were always able to come to a solution. And that's repeating itself now. We've had a few meetings and we've talked about some very tough issues. And how we're going to deal with those. And, one of those tough issues is the occupational tax issue, which, the mayor has kind of made public his intentions to take what he considers his portion of the occupational tax. And right now we have the ordinance where we give a certain percentage to all the cities based on population. And, he understands that if he takes his portion, it's really gonna hurt us, in our budget. So we're working through that and trying to find out the best solution for both so that we're not extremely hurt by what he does and that he's able to accomplish what he wants to do. And my understanding is, his goal in this is to be able to take the money that he is getting and call it his own. Because right now, the way it's set up, it's a yearly gift from the county. We collect the tax and we give it to the city, so it's a gift. And I think he would like to call it his own. That way, when he wants to go and build a new fire station or whatever building he wants to build, he can borrow money against that income. Currently, he's not able to. So I think this is what he really wants, is to be able to borrow, but he also wants to get a little bit more than he's getting. He thinks that a bigger portion of the city workers obviously work within the city limits, and we agree with that. However, we think a big portion of the county population drives into the city and goes across those county roads to get to the city. And so there's things we're working through to try to find the best solution. But communication is the key, and it's something we do have. And the mayor and I have a good relationship in that regard. So I think you'll see that we'll come to a good solution that everybody can live with.
So you will have more meetings with the mayor to talk about the occupational tax?
Yes. Matter of fact, we're scheduled to meet again this week. We just met last week. We're going to meet again this week, and we're also going to be talking about the EMS situation, which has been a hot potato, I guess, between the city and the county, and how best do you deal with that? We had an agreement, an interlocal agreement with the city to run that, and we would subsidize a portion of the shortfalls with the city, and they've asked for more, and we're at the point where we can't give. So, I think the city and the county right now have basically agreed prematurely, I guess. I don't know. We have to go through the fiscal court will have to agree, and the city council will have to agree to make this happen. But the mayor and I have agreed that the county will take that EMS back over and try to see what we can do with it. So, we are progressing, and we're taking some of these issues that have been a little bit divisive, and we're coming together to try to do what's right for our county and our cities. In the short time that we have left, what is happening at Pulaski County Park? Oh, I knew you were going to go there. We've got some exciting news, I think. Now, this is not a new concept, but it's something that kind of died out for whatever reason in recent years. But we are close again to having a deal with I won't name the company, but it's a Fortune 500 company who would like to have major concerts at the park, and they are willing to provide infrastructure investment that would give us an amphitheater and seating and road improvements there at the park to handle traffic. They're willing to make this investment for us if we will let them rent the park from us, 1 or 2 weekends a year, and they would market the concerts to people outside of Pulaski County. So for tourism, which is one of my platform ideas, this would be huge. It would bring eyeballs from all over northern Kentucky and Ohio and Indiana, and places that normally don't see Lake Cumberland would be drawn down to this concert venue. And when they get here, that who can't love Pulaski County? Once they see it, they're going to fall in love, and we'll get those people back year after year after year to our lake. And what that means is it's just dollars coming back into our economy from outside, and that's going to be good for everybody. It'll make our economy be stronger. And the good thing about this concert venue is once the infrastructure is in place, Pulaski County will be able to lease it out to other people who would like to have concerts here. So we could turn what right now our park is losing about $130,000 a year, us just trying to maintain it. We could turn this into a profit center, $500,000 to $1 million a year just in leasing our park out for people that want to have music concerts, and they'd be able to come from the lake, come from drive in. I think it's a great opportunity, and it goes right in line with our tourism being the fuel that drives our jet. I'm excited about it. I hope the county is excited about it. I'm sure not everyone will be, but I think the majority are, and I'm ready for it to happen this summer. If it doesn't happen, we're still ready for a good lake season because our lake's up and the weather's going to be beautiful, and we're ready for our campgrounds to be full. So things are looking good for this summer regardless, but I'm hoping that we can have this new addition that we can brag on. We could talk about much more, but we are running out of time. Thank you for being on the show, and we will be talking with you once a month following the fiscal court meeting for that month. So we will sit down with you on Mid Mornings with Amy again in March. And very quickly, you mentioned you have a lot of meetings, but in your effort to be transparent, is your door always open for anybody in the county who wants to come talk to you in a respectful way? Well, here's what we're doing right now, and it is open. I'm there every morning unless I'm out of town on government business, but I keep open appointments through 12 o'clock. Then I usually take a quick lunch, and then I come back into the office for scheduled appointments. So if you want to just pop in, try to catch me before lunch. Other than that, you can talk to my executive secretary, Katrina Sullivan, and she keeps my schedule. She knows she knows when I'm open and when I'm not, and she can schedule an appointment in the afternoon if you'd like to talk to me then. But mornings are free, so come on in.
And your office is located on the first floor of the Pulaski County Courthouse. Pulaski County Judge Executive Steve Kelley, thank you.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you all for having me.